everyone, Sherry Lynn here. Today I'm really excited. I'm going to show you guys how to make Zuppa Toscana. It's one of my favorite soups, and if you're familiar with this soup, it usually has potatoes in it, but we're going to substitute those out for cauliflower, and it really is one of my favorite soups. So check it out. So for the Zuppa Toscana soup, what you're going to need is 2 cups of cauliflower flowerets. And I make them all different sizes because I do want some of them to break down and cook more than others, just for the different textures. I'm going to use half a large onion, and you're going to want to dice those into thick slices. And you're going to need 6 sausage links. Now if you like really spicy, you can go ahead and use all hot Italian. I kind of like mine in the middle, so I'm going to use 3 mild and 3 hot. But if you don't like spice, go ahead and use 6 of just the mild, and it should be good for you. So like I said, I'm going to use 3 of each. Then you need red pepper flakes, black pepper, pink Himalayan salt, and a big thing of chicken broth. And this is 32 ounces. So that's all you need. And a big stew pot to put this all in. So the first thing you're going to want to do after cutting up your cauliflower is go ahead and slice up your onions. And cut it up into decent sized chunks, that way it doesn't completely dissolve in the broth. Alright, now that you got that done, you're going to want to de-skin 6 of your Italian sausages. And a little trick to this, if you leave them a little bit frozen, then the skin comes off a lot faster and easier. So just go ahead and take that off. And it just comes right off when it's partially frozen. Oh, another ingredient that I did forget to mention is you might want to have a little bit of heavy whipping cream on hand. If the soup doesn't come out quite thick enough, I'll go ahead and add a little bit of that into it. Sometimes I don't need it. It really depends on how it all stews up in the pot when I'm cooking, but it does help if you have a little bit on hand in case you want to add some. So now that I got all these de-skinned, the next thing you're going to want to do is just cut it into little bite-sized pieces, about like that. Okay, and that's all the prep there is to this, which is another reason why I love this soup. So now we're going to take all this over to the stove and get it cooking. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and turn the heat on. And you're gonna wanna brown the sausage just a little bit on each side. And I don't add any oil or anything into this. The meat has enough grease in it that once it starts cooking, it doesn't stick to the pan. I don't do this in batches or anything, just throw it all in and wait for it to cook. And you can break it into a little bit smaller pieces if you want as you're cooking it. Now that this is browned up nicely, go ahead and add all your onions. Just give that a quick stir. Then do about 4 shakes of red pepper flakes and some black pepper. And you can just do this to taste, but pink Himalayan sea salt is what I just put in next. Give this a stir. And go ahead and add your chicken broth. Just want to cover, almost cover the whole thing. So that's perfect. Give that a quick stir. Okay, then you're going to want to cover this and bring it to a boil. After it gets to a boil, we're going to come back and add the cauliflower and cook it at a slow simmer for about 15-20 minutes. Okay, now that this has come to a nice boil, we want to reduce the heat, give it a nice stir, and add your cauliflower. So just go ahead and dump that right in and mix that up. And then put the lid back on. You want to cook that on a slow boil for about 20 minutes or until the cauliflower is to the texture that you want. I like mine tender, so I cook it about 20 minutes. While that's cooking, I like to just go up ahead and kind of pick up the kitchen a little bit. And I'll be back in about 20 minutes. It's been just shy of 20 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and check the cauliflower. Just wanna make sure that it's nice and tender, which this is, so it's breaking apart really nice. So the next thing that I do is I just take out some of the cauliflower and put it in a bowl, and I'm actually gonna puree this, and this also helps get the soup a little thicker. Now you're gonna get some sausage chunks in there, don't worry about that, just helps with the flavoring. All right, so that looks like this. And then I just take my immersion blender, but you can use a food processor, whatever you have. Okay, and what that does is it makes like a paste, and you're just gonna wanna dump that back into the soup, and go ahead and scrape the bowl, get all that goodness inside the pan. So this is what the soup looks like now, and as you can see, it kinda helps thicken the soup a little bit. Now, if you want it a little bit thicker, you can add a little bit of whipping cream, or even, reduce some of the stock itself. I'm gonna go ahead and add a tiny bit of whipping cream. And by a tiny bit, I don't like to put too much whipping cream because I feel like it changes the taste. So that should be plenty. And then go ahead and stir that in. Adding the whipping cream does make it more of the color of the Olive Garden soup. Then the very last thing that you do is add kale. I cut up about 2 cups worth, and you just wanna add that in right at the end and wilt it just a little bit. So stir it in and just cook it for a couple of minutes until it wilts a little bit. And that adds a nice pop of color, and it also gives another texture in the soup, which I really like. Now, if you don't like kale, you can use spinach, or you can leave it out altogether. And you don't want to boil it once you put the cream in there if you can help it. A small, slight boil is not gonna hurt anything, but you definitely don't want a rapid boil once you add the heavy whipping cream. Okay, so the kale is wilting some, which actually looks like that. And let's go ahead and dish some up. So excited, this is really the best soup ever. Okay, and this is what it looks like. And with the different sausages, it's so packed full of flavor. All right, so I have it dished up, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. Now this soup never disappoints. It's so good. All the different flavors really combine nicely, and you're not gonna miss the potatoes at all. So let's give it a bite. It is so good. So you guys gotta try this one. Hopefully you love it as much as I do. And I'm gonna go ahead and eat my dinner, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.